The day is almost here. Tears of the Kingdom is so close, I can almost taste it. I can envision myself holding the controller, infusing things, and making wacky vehicles that probably will get me killed, because that's mostly what happened when I tried to do clever things in Breath of the Wild. But I can't wait. As of recording this video, we're a week away, and I am just so excited. Every Zelda game is like better than holidays for me, because we only get one Zelda game every few years. And so, you know, I remember ever since Majora's Mask, really, I remember going to the mall and getting Majora's Mask on launch day, the special gold cartridge with the 3D image on the front, with money, my own money that I had saved up, like mowing lawns and stuff. So ever since then, every Zelda, it's just like something that I can hardly stand to wait for. So to be this close, yet so far away, is just, it's almost torturous. You know, the line in Lord of the Rings where Gandalf comes back in the Two Towers, and he's like, "And every day was as long as a life age of the earth." That's how I feel this last, like, little stretch waiting for Tears of the Kingdom. But today, I wanted to talk a little bit about one of the concerns that people have had, and I think it's a really valid concern, but I want to talk a little bit about why I'm not worried, and I'm actually really excited. I think it's going to be a great thing for the game. And that concern is that the map in Tears of the Kingdom is reused or carried over from Breath of the Wild. At least the Hyrule, the version of Hyrule, is the same one that we're familiar with from Breath of the Wild. And I remember being a little bit disappointed about that too when I very first heard the news. It was like a couple years ago, maybe longer now. I totally get why people would be worried about that. I think one of the things that makes Tears of the Kingdom so magical is the sense of discovery and exploration, from being able to basically go anywhere that you want on the map and see something totally new and really unique. And so I can see why people would be worried about missing that in Tears of the Kingdom. However, I think there's two reasons why it's not a concern for me and is actually something that I'm looking forward to. And number one is that I think that sense of exploration and discovery and adventure is still definitely going to be there. Even though the main, like, ground level Hyrule is carried over from Breath of the Wild, and it has the same towns, and probably stables are in the same place and everything. There are still new places to explore. We have all of the area in the sky, all the sky islands, which we don't even know the extent of yet. And then we also have what most people are predicting is going to be a fairly extensive amount of underground exploration as well. And those are going to be completely and entirely new. And I think that mixed with other unknowns, you know, dungeons and enemies, bosses, I think that those things are going to add up to still create a really awesome sense of discovery in Breath of the Wild. But the second, or in Tears of the Kingdom, sorry. But in the second reason, and the one that I'm actually more excited about, is that there's something really cool to me about being able to explore a familiar place in a new way. Ocarina of Time is like mainly what I think of when I think about this idea, because I remember playing Ocarina of Time for the first time, coming out of the Temple of Time and seeing a whole new version of Hyrule. Even though it was like the same worlds and same towns and stuff, it was like this darker, grittier, like kind of evil, like taken over version. And that was so awesome. So, I mean, first off, if you guys haven't played Ocarina of Time, just go play it. It's freaking awesome. But for those of you who haven't played it, basically, you start out as young Link, as a child, and you explore all of Hyrule, Lon Lon Ranch and Hyrule Castle Town and Kakariko Village and the Gerudo and Death Mountain. And you go to all of these places, Zora's Domain, you get familiar with them. And then once it comes time to actually draw the Master Sword out of the Temple of Time, you get locked away for 7 years, and when you come out of being locked away, you're an adult, you're still in the Temple of Time, and everything is the same, at least at first. Temple of Time looks exactly the same, the music's the same, but as soon as you walk out those doors, you realize that something is extremely wrong. And that very first moment that I remember as a kid playing Ocarina of Time, walking out, instead of the bright, vibrant, colorful world of Hyrule Castle Town, which has music and people dancing and dogs running around and little games that you can play and shops, it has been completely deserted. It is a run-down, barren wasteland with no light. It's all dark all the time. And there's re-deads, which supposedly are coming back. I love re-deads. Now we just need the dead hands. Oh, if those came back, I would lose it, but I doubt that. That would be awesome. But coming out of the Temple of Time for the first time and seeing Hyrule Castle Town abandoned, and you go to where Hyrule Castle was originally, and instead of this majestic, incredible castle, there's this evil floating castle in the middle of a giant pit of lava. I mean, it is awesome. And that happens everywhere on the map. You go to Zora's Domain, you go to Death Mountain, you go to Lon Lon Ranch. Anywhere you go has been affected by what has happened in Hyrule during the 7 years that you were locked away. And that is such a cool way to discover a game. And so I think there's going to be something similar going on in Breath of the Wild. It's happened in other Zelda games too. You know, there's like the Dark World or like Minish Cap at the very end. Hyrule Castle gets turned into like a dark version of Hyrule Castle. But this is like a totally new concept for the series in that it's carrying over from one game to the other. And the map is nothing like what we've seen before in terms of its scale and its level of detail. So I can't even begin to imagine the things that they've done and changed. And for someone like me who I consider myself to be pretty freaking familiar with the map of Breath of the Wild. I've put probably 450 hours in the game. I think I'm on my 6th playthrough right now. I think I'm probably going to be familiar enough with it to recognize and notice a lot of things, and I just cannot wait for that experience. So for that reason, I think that it really will work towards Tears of the Kingdom's favor, and it will help the players have a new experience that instead of discovering something brand new, you discover something in a different way. It's familiar, but it's changed. Either for the better, maybe they've rebuilt something, or the worse. You know, maybe Ganon and his minions have taken over a place and made it all dark and evil. So yeah, and then you factor into that just the time that the devs got to save. Instead of focusing on developing the map and building every different location out, they could just tweak what was there and then spend all of this other time on other mechanics in the game, which frankly, you know, I love Breath of the Wild, but there were a lot of other aspects of the game that I felt could have used a little more time and attention. The Divine Beasts were not super unique or fun. They weren't anywhere in the same realm as classic Zelda dungeons and, you know, boss battles and stuff like that. So I'm really, really hoping that they were able to take that time and put it to good use in other ways. So it's just another reason for me to get excited for Tears of the Kingdom. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, whether you agree or disagree. And obviously, if you like the video, you know, hit the thumbs up and all that stuff, like YouTube nonsense. But really, if you guys are interested in watching my playthrough, I will actually be uploading it to my channel here. So feel free to subscribe if you want to experience the game with me. So 1 week, guys. Talk to you later.
Link. You are our final hope.